Welcome back to another edition of Eye of the Storm, a Guelph Storm podcast with myself, Ryan Drury, the voice of your Guelph Storm on Rogers TV. Very pleased to be back after a week off. Broadcasters need vacations too, believe it or not, but we're back and we're excited to mix it up again here on the show. We have the players on a lot, but we're mixing the staff in this year, and we're doing that again this week with the assistant to the GM and video coordinator for your Guelph Storm, Brennan O'Sullivan. Brennan, how are you, buddy?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Getting ready for a big game day here at home against Barrie. So, also hope you had a great vacation. Well deserved. So that's
Absolutely,
awesome.
yeah. I'm glad you said it was well deserved. It's up for debate, but we'll see. Well, dude, it's great to have you on the show, and again, it's great to be able to kind of connect with the team staff a little more, give people a bit more of a look behind the scenes, and you have such a critical job with the team. But before we kind of touch on that, I do this with the players all the time, and I'd like to do it with you. Your hockey history. I mean, how did you fall in love with the game? Take me back to when you were a kid and first getting involved in hockey. How did your journey in the game start?
Well, I'm sure this is a pretty familiar story. You probably heard it a lot, but grew up in a small town, a hockey loving town with a hockey loving family. So, I mean, I was kind of born into it. My sister is, a pretty high level figure skater, so my parents were always at the rink. And then when they had a son, I think my dad was pretty excited to put skates on me at 3 years old, and started playing organized hockey at 4. Yeah, and then when it was time to start figuring about university, once high school was over, I stumbled across the sport management program at Brock University there in St. Catharines, and it was kind of a no-brainer for me. It was a passion I had ever since I was a kid to, be involved in the game of hockey, and that was an opportunity for me to take it a step further. And so I completed my bachelor degree there, and worked at Stathletes in St. Catharines, which is a hockey analytics company, for 2 years. And then Big George gave me the call one day when I was applying for jobs, and the timing kind of worked out because Phil Golding had just left the organization to work in Vancouver, and George gave me the call to see if I was a fit, and I've kind of been here ever since. So that was six years ago now. So that's kind of how it all fell into place, and it's crazy. It's been 6 years already. It's flown by. So.
Well, and that's what you want to hear. Time flies when you're having fun, as they say. And you gotta pump your town's tires and your sister's tires a little bit too here. You can tell us a little bit more. Tell us give us the whole rundown.
Well, yeah. So I'll start with my hometown, Simcoe, Ontario. It's south of Brantford. Yeah, like I said, it's a hockey loving town. We've the town's kind of pumped out a few NHLers: Rob Blake, Dwayne Rolson, Brad Kelly, Rick Walmsley, guys like that. Ryan Vandenbush, who played for the Storm. So yeah, it's it lives and breathes hockey down in Simcoe. So I'm pretty proud to be from Simcoe in Norfolk County. And yeah, my sister, she figure skated ever since she was a kid. So she's she was always at the rinks, and I was, my parents dragged me out to the rink. So eventually when I got the skates on, it was, it made sense. I mean, they're always at the rink anyways, so might as well throw their other kid in skates too. So, but yeah,
Exactly, exactly. That's the way it typically goes here in the Great White North, and another
there you
reason
go.
why we remain the best. By the way, four nations. Like
Yep.
hey, we heard a lot of chatter about a certain country overtaking us. I don't think so.
No,
Um,
not yet. Not yet. That's for sure.
not ever, not ever.
Not
Come
ever.
on.
There you go. There you go.
I want to talk a bit about your alma mater too, of course, and that's Brock University. And a lot of people have come out of particularly that sport management program. I've heard nothing but good things about it. Tell us a little bit about your experience there and what it was like kind of finding your footing and realizing, hey, this is a career that I definitely want to pursue.
It was amazing, man. Like, just ever since I stepped foot on campus, it's a very welcoming campus. It's a smaller campus, so it really felt, and coming from a small town, that really made me feel at home. And obviously the likes of, everyone knows, Kyle Dubas was an alumni there, and other guys who work in the league now. I know Scott Grieve, the assistant GM in Erie, was a classmate of mine, as well as Matt Anderson, who works in Brampton. This was also was a classmate of mine at Brock. So, and there's guys in other sports that have gone through Brock and made a name for themselves. Andrew Tinish worked for the Toronto Blue Jays, and he was a alumni of Brock as well. So, and Phil Golding actually too. He was an alumni of Brock who was assistant GM at Guelph. So they're kind of all over. There's more that I'm missing for sure, but Brock's done a good job with the sport management program of getting guys into the industry, not just hockey, but all industries and sports. So it was a really great place to be, and I can't say enough about my profs too that I had there. A lot of them had worked in the industry previously, and they knew, that were honest with us that it's going to be, it's going to be a lot of work, and you're going to really have to have a passion for working in sports if you want to be successful in it. So they're really real with all of us, and really didn't hide anything, and really you want to make sure we're passionate about it if we were going to continue in it. So I can't say enough about Brock University. It was a great place to go to school, and um, I still have great memories of being at Brock to this day. So
Absolutely. Well, it's great to hear. A proud Badger. There's nothing wrong with that. And I
there you
think,
go.
it was, similar to my broadcasting journey. I mean, especially wanting to get into sports. Everybody wants to work in sports because it
Well,
looks so fun. But you go to these programs, whether it's broadcasting or the management side of things, and you really, I think you and I would probably have similar experiences in that you get a real sense pretty quickly of who actually has the guts to kind of put up with it. Because look, we love the industry. It's an amazing industry to work in, but it can
it
kick
is.
you around pretty hard on your way to finding your footing, eh? And I'm sure, much like myself, you probably went through a lot of sleepless nights, long nights at rinks, volunteering and not getting
Yep,
paid for stuff. Like that's what you're
100%.
in for to kind of kick the door in, eh?
100%. You nailed it, Ryan. Like the volunteering is a big thing. I mean, I was told that, at 18 that you need to volunteer to get your foot in the door. Like people need to know that you're really willing to work and willing to work for, nothing or not a lot. And that's, I think that's how you really get your foot in the door. Like you said, it's got to kick the door down with volunteering, and people will know that you're a worker. So, um, that's a great point. But you know what, you made a lot of contacts from volunteering. I think that was the big thing for me. Is it looks like it's there's no money in it, of course, but the actual asset you get out of it is the connections you make and the experience you get and the time you put into it. So there definitely is rewards from it, even if it's not monetary. But yeah, it's a big part of it, and it can kick your butt.
It can for sure, but that's the thing. You got to have a bit of a long view in terms of where you want to push your career, and that's the biggest thing. Those assets are available to you in terms of those connections, but it is up to you to kind of mine those and go get them. Like you can't just show up at these things and work and leave. You got to make sure people kind of remember your name in a sense and keep
100%. It's
going.
almost like a tryout, right?
That's absolutely what it is. It's like showing up for an audition or something. Like you
Yeah,
got to make sure that people kind of remember, that Brennan guy seemed like quite a dude. Like, we want to keep him on our list. And that's clearly what you've done. And you mentioned obviously in your rundown of your history up until now, getting in with the Storm, that call that you got, we talked to the players a lot about what was it like when you got drafted and George gave you a call. Well, it was
yeah,
kind of like you got drafted when George gave you a
yeah.
call, our friend George Burnett. What was that day like when he gave you a ring and said, "Hey, we'd love to have you come and be a full-time member of this franchise"?
Yeah, it was surreal. Like even I still talk about it to this day. I was busing from my where I was living, Niagara Falls, to St. Catharines to go to work for athletes there. And George had given me the call, and he said, "Why don't you, nothing's guaranteed, but if you want to come down and just meet everyone and come in for an interview, that'd be great." And he's like, "If you can come in tomorrow, that'd be awesome." And I didn't have a car at the time, so I was like, I had to call my dad. I was like, "Yeah, can you come pick me up from Niagara Falls and bring me to Guelph? I got an interview here." And he's actually, ironically, my dad was born in Guelph, so um, that it was all kind of fitting there. So he had no problem doing that. So I always appreciate him for that. But yeah, so then I kind of came in. I met Phil, I met George, and some of the coaching staff that was there at the time, and George kind of ran through what the job would entail. And yeah, I was nervous as I've ever been, and yeah, and then I walked out the door. It was pretty quick. Like George, as if George, he's pretty efficient with his meetings and stuff. So I was probably in there for 20, 25 minutes, and I got out and got in the car. My dad's like, "How'd it go?" And I was like, "I think all right." And we started driving back to Niagara area, and 10 minutes down the road, George was like, "Well, if you can start tomorrow, then you're in." Just and I was like, all right. So we turned the car back around. My sister lives in Guelph too, actually. My sister and her and my brother-in-law and her little girl, my niece, live in Guelph. So I lived with them for a few days and until I could find my own place. And yeah, so and it's kind of a perfect fit, to be honest. It really worked out in that way that I had family here and it was a quick turnaround, but it was a lot of fun. It was really surreal. It is like it did kind of feel like, you get drafted or whatever. It's quick and it's a surreal moment for sure.
Well, that's a
So
great story and one that yeah, it doesn't surprise me because like you said, yeah, getting to know George over the years that I've been covering the team and even a little bit prior, like he's just a very direct guy. You know where you stand
very,
and he but that's something that I think in this industry is very appreciated. Like you just know right away what the task is, what he thinks and he's the guy that you've been working with for basically the entirety of your time here. The entire time you've been here, you've been working with George, a really special guy. Like, I mean, as much as George can kind of come across to people who don't know him well as maybe a little dry, a little withdrawn, he's just such a good dude, like a
he
good
is.
hockey man. What's
Mhm.
your experience been like, and what can you say about working with really, like when you boil it down, one of the all-time great coaches and executives in the history of this league?
Yeah, it's something that I think about, especially in the off season. I find myself thinking about is I'm very lucky to, when you get a few minutes to really think about your career so far. I'm very lucky to have worked for George Burnett for as long as I have so far, and hopefully more years to come. He's just he's a great hockey man with, 30, 35 years of experience in this league and experience in the NHL and the AHL. Like, he has experience everywhere. He's done everything. And once you work with him, you see why he's done it all because he's so detailed. He's so efficient. He's so, nothing gets by that man. So that's a lot that I try to take away from him is how he conducts himself in such a professional manner as well. He does all that in the most professional way possible. So, no, it's been amazing, and I'm trying to. I learn something new from him every day, and that's pretty impressive. After 6 years, you're still saying that you're learning something from someone. So he's I can't say enough about George. And he, as well as being a great hockey man, he's just a great man in general. He's very loyal and very caring. He cares about every single one of his staff and players as if they're family. So I think that's the big thing. That's probably the thing I most admire about George is that he is a very caring person. So outside of the whole hockey stuff, it's pretty good. So he's and like you said, he's one of the most successful executives, coaches in this league. So the fact that I get to learn from him and see his work every day is something that I don't take for granted. That's for sure.
Well, it's good to hear, and I mean, yeah, he's just a well-liked guy, and you're right, like he's very tapped in. Like everybody's got their own way of going about things, and some
Mm,
executives are a little more withdrawn, like to kind of keep their distance. George is at the rink all of the time. I see him
okay.
every game night. He never
Yeah.
misses games. Like he's there,
Yeah.
he's down, he's talking to staff, he's talking to players. Like he's as involved and hands-on as you can get, which I think
Yeah.
is appreciative. Like he or appreciated rather. Like he sets a very, very solid tone. And I think that
He
that's
does.
true of the entire franchise's staff. And, like it was great to chat with Matt Newby recently on the podcast, and he was bigging up the staff, like the people that a lot of the fans don't necessarily see behind the scenes. What's that like? It's a very familial atmosphere with the Guelph
It
Storm.
is.
It just feels like a big family. What's it like for you to be a part of that?
It's amazing, man. Like that's honestly what I love most about working hockey is that you see them more than your family and friends. Like you're with them every day. You're on buses with them, hotels with them, at the rink. You're they are your family at the end of the day. And I think we have a really good culture with that. Like we do treat each other like family, and it's a lot of fun. And starting from George and Corey all the way down, that it's something that it makes it enjoyable to go to work every day. And through the ups and downs, you always have that core staff that's ready to work and put things behind them and still have that you know that good culture with it through the ups and downs. And that's something that I love about the Guelph Storm and working in hockey. So, but yeah, it starts from George and Corey down, and like you said, it's something that's needed in a job like this when you have long hours and long days. So, yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite parts about working in this organization is the culture for sure and the staff.
Well, and it's, from an outside, looking in perspective for us at Rogers as broadcasters, like we love it too, because I mean, you guys treat us really well. It's easy to come to the rink for us. And I mean, even in a season like this one where, it's been a little trying in the standing, sure. I mean, the community is still so supportive of the team, and everybody at the rink, no matter what, is in positive spirits and in a great mood to come to work every day. And that makes it even better. And then when successful times happen, which will happen again very soon, I think, that makes it even sweeter. And on that note, for me working with the podcast and getting it set up and everything, there's two ladies in particular that I coordinate this with that I was asked specifically to
I don't
ask
know where
you
this is
about.
going.
Be careful with your answer, because now a lot of people and a lot of fans that come, especially ones that have, their kids come out and play on the ice and stuff in the intermission, they'll be familiar with Lisa Newby and Lisa Delamadia, who I see every game night. I deal with them to set the podcast up. I don't even know their official job titles because I just call them the Mrs. Everythings. They just do all the media
They do.
stuff, communications. The two of them are, and you never see them apart either.
No,
So I
there's
need
something
to
wrong if you're
ask
seeing
you,
them apart.
absolutely, I get worried when I see one
Yeah.
of them by themselves. What's it like working with those two? Be careful.
Well, I know their job title is bother Brennan whenever they can. That should be their official job title. So,
We're off to a bad start.
we get the gears for that. But no, it's unbelievable working with them. They, like I said, the hockey ops staff make it fun to go to work every day. Those two as well. They always got something up their sleeve. I mean, they're always pulling pranks on me, not just me, the players as well. Uh, they, I'll speak about me. I won't tell anything about the players' pranks, but with me in particular, they've put my name on the jumbotron for birthdays when it wasn't even close to my birthday. So I get all these texts from players' parents and players and whatever that happy birthday. And I got unfortunately I had to tell like 20, 25 people it's not my birthday. So that's always an awkward conversation. But also too, like Lindsay and Lisa took a picture of me with like a filter on where I was bald and had like a mustache, and they showed it to me right away. I was like, that's funny. And then the next day, I walk into the hallway, like outside the dressing room there, and they have the picture posted on the wall. The boys have put it in the dressing room. Like they're always up to something. So, but no, that's what makes it fun, right? Like they know how to make work fun and lighthearted, and I enjoy seeing them every day. And most of the time they're making fun of me, so that part, I gotta watch. But it is enjoyable working with them. So yeah, I mean, sure they'll have something with their sleeve today at the game. So I just gotta wait a couple hours to figure out what that is. So looking forward to that for sure.
I'll check in with you before the game to see. I'll get the rundown on what happened. But yeah,
I'll
they
let you know. We
are.
might have to come up with some pranks to get back to them here soon. So
Well, we could cook something up, not to give them, a heads up. Maybe this will keep them on their toes a little bit, because I do want to have them on the podcast, of course, as a package deal at
oh, they
some
wouldn't go
point.
separately
No, absolutely not. And I definitely, maybe we could cook something up for that. We'll prepare a little video or something for them. Who
for
knows?
sure, for sure. And
Yeah, they're
what?
the
Before I get in
best.
trouble, I have to mention when we're talking about Brock alumni, Lindsay Newby is also a Brock alumni, the most important Brock
Yes.
alumni. I forgot. I would be remiss to forget her. So gotta
Lindsay's
get
a
that in there.
Badger as well. Let's
There you
let's
go.
make sure everybody has that down. They are the
There you go.
best though, and they help us out a lot. They're my main contact for getting this. If everybody enjoys this podcast, which I think you do, because there's a lot of downloads, a lot of subscribers, you can thank
Awesome.
those two in particular, because they make it happen for me. I want to take people behind the scenes a little bit and talk a little bit about what you do on a daily basis, and particularly on a day like tonight when we're recording this on game days. Take us through a day in the life of Brennan O'Sullivan at the Sleeman Center.
So game days are actually probably my home game days, I should say, are probably my least hectic days. So I usually go in the morning. I do take some of the boys to school, the high school boys. So sometimes that's part of my morning routine. But they're all starting to get cars now, so they're getting a little more independent. Uh, but yeah, so that's part of it. And then go to the rink for a few hours, and if Corey or George need anything done, I help them out with that. And then go home in the afternoon for some lunch and maybe a little bit of a nap sometimes, depending on the day. Uh, then go back to the rink and kind of make sure to get the video all set up. And my assistant Anuj helps me out with that as well. And just yeah, kind of prepare for the game, make sure the players have all their tickets in order and everything's running smoothly there. And then cut some video during the game and hopefully after a big win, we're pretty happy and I can get the video to the coaches, and it's a lot more fun for them to watch. So, and then non-game days is anything from planning road trips, buses, hotels, meals, uh, to helping George out with some video for scouting or whatever he's up to. So, also communication between the league, for bulletins, between front office and hockey ops for any sort of events or anything going on. So it's honestly it's hard to describe, and I get that question sometimes. Friends and family ask me, and it's like it's hard to describe because it's something new every day, which honestly makes the job so much more enjoyable because it's not a stagnant job. It's you're looking at stats you're one day and then video the next, and getting ready for a road trip the next day. So it's always something new, which makes it exciting and makes time fly for sure. Um, but yeah, so it's all about it's mostly just making sure the staff's all happy and coordinated. The players are happy if there's anything they need done, help them out with some stuff as well, and on the front office, and make sure Lindsay and Lisa are happy as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very key.
Job
I
number one.
I I will say too, and I hope she's not angry at me for saying so. I've told her this to her face. I think that Lisa Delamadia has the greatest eye roll I've ever seen in my life. Like when she hits you with one of those, it's all business. It's
Game over at that
fantastic.
point.
Yeah, there's nobody better at doing it. And if fans ever wonder what I'm talking about, if you see Lisa, tell her to give you an example. It won't
Oh
be
yeah.
authentic, but
No, the authentic ones hurt more.
it's pretty good. Yeah, nothing stings quite as bad as a Lisa eye roll.
No,
I want to talk to you too, just about, we touched on this part of what makes the job special, this franchise special, and your job special. And I know you kind of, boiled down your task list and make it sound a lot simpler than it is, and it isn't. Like, for fans, Brennan is a big key cog in making sure that this franchise is running on all cylinders every day. And I know that the fans appreciate it. And on that note, even though this year has been a little bit tough in the standings, I talked about it with Matt Newby, and I continue to hammer on it with the players. Like this fan base in this city, look, I grew up a Guelph Storm fan. I grew up in Arthur. It's a half hour away. The Storm are my team as a kid, so it's kind of serendipitous I ended up in the role I did. I care about the franchise, and so does the city, man. Like the fan
It's
base has
unbelievable.
just been unbelievable this year. What's it like to work for a fan base like this one?
It's yeah, it there's no words to describe it. It's you see our logo everywhere. Almost every business, you're going into the store, you walk through, there's Guelph Storm jersey, there's, raffle going on for tickets, the logo's somewhere in the building, buses, bus stops, people with their bumper stickers, like the logo's everywhere, the crimson's everywhere. It makes you smile every time you see it because you know that this city loves hockey and loves junior hockey. Um, it's yeah, and ever since COVID, and our front office has done an amazing job getting people in the building, and we've had some exciting players that have helped with that too. Obviously, that they're getting seats filled too as well. So, but yeah, no, it's unbelievable the support that this city's given this team. Ever since COVID, especially, I've noticed it. But we're selling out every night, and um, you know, good nights or bad nights, they're there to support. It's a lot of friends come to games that have seen other OHL teams, and they said the atmosphere at the Sleeman Center is bar none. It's a great building to watch a game, and it's a great atmosphere, and that's because of the fans. Yeah, no words can describe it really. It's the pinnacle of junior hockey to me. Is that this fan base. So
Absolutely, I agree, and I mean it makes it a thrill to broadcast games there too. Like our whole
oh yeah,
crew,
you have a lot of
it's
fun with it. It's fun listening to you. So
oh thanks, yeah. I'm trying. You know, it's
I
not
sit
hard
right in
though. I
front of
mean,
you, so I hear you a lot.
yeah, but I got if any of the Guelph Storm staff ever need hearing aids someday, I might be liable for some of that. No, but like you said though, for all those reasons, like it's not hard to be excited, even if the team's struggling. Like the kids are amazing, the staff are great. We've covered all this. Like it for us. I mean, our job is we have the easiest job in the building. I think it's just it's fantastic. On that note though, you know, I talk to the players all the time. We like to ask them about their equipment and their music
Yeah,
preferences. I'm curious about you. You're from a small town, and would I be safe in assuming you're a pretty big country guy, like a
love
majority of the
country.
dressing room? There you go.
Oh yeah,
Okay, rattle off some favorites for me here. Let's go.
favorite artists or favorite songs?
Either or favorite artist. Let's go. Let's hear a few.
All right, so right now Zach Bryan and Morgan Wall are my favorite for sure. Blake Shelton's actually another favorite of mine. But yeah, Luke Combs. That's all my playlist is. I get ripped apart for only having country on my playlist. So,
No
but yeah, I
judgment.
don't listen to much else, man. It's all country for me. So
I'm
yeah, I need to
I'm gonna make
diversify a
it.
bit, but
Well, hey, you know, you like what you like. That's all that matters, right? It's music's a universal language and you hear it however you like. I am making it a goal of mine. Maybe you can point me in the right direction. I got to find the one staffer or player who's like a metal guy because that's me.
uh,
I feel very much on an island over
yeah,
here.
yeah. I mean, it's not crazy common for sure, but I'm sure there's a guy in there for sure. I'm sure one of the guys is the big metal guy. So there is a lot of
We're
country
going
going
to
on in the dressing room for sure, but I'm sure someone's gotta like metal. So
well, I know, you know, I know assistant coach Rob Davison does have a little bit of metal on his playlist.
I'm not
So
shocked by that.
yeah, he's a pretty diverse guy. So
Yo, his music taste, like because my office is right beside the coach's office there, and you don't know what's coming out of that coach's room any day, music wise. Like there's some soft rock coming one day, then country, then metal, then 70s, then it's you never know what's coming out of his music taste there. So
Scott
and Scott
Simmons
poor
did
poor
tell
Scott
me
Stevens. What do you say?
he did tell me when I had him on the show. Go back and watch if you haven't seen that. He did tell me that they were in there one day and Metallica was on, followed right up by Celine Dion.
Wow,
Not
that's
that there's anything wrong with any of that. We love
no,
Selene. We
yeah,
love Selene. But
yeah.
Metallica, like Enter Sandman right into Selene. Okay.
I'm
Rob,
sure
how
that might
about
have been the
that?
first time that's ever happened in history, the world.
It
Who knows?
could, it could be. That's
Not a common
unique.
follow up for sure.
It's unique. I'll say that.
For sure.
Speaking of unique, and we've had lots of good answers on this one. If you were a player and you could pick a goal song, what do you think you would go with?
Oh,
Give me a good country party anthem here.
well, we're putting on a spot here.
Yeah.
Because it's got to be a little bit of pump up. Now, like this
Yes.
isn't a great goal song, but Last Night by Morgan Wallen, it always puts me in a good mood. But it's not a
And
great
that's
goal
all that
song. But
matters. I don't know
that's
about
true.
that. I actually think that that being a little bit more of a unique spin might make it a great goal song.
Fair, fair. My girlfriend Rachel will be happy I picked Morgan Wallen.
That's good.
She loves Morgan Wallen, so I kind of did that for her.
I wonder what she would pick for you. That would be
That would be.
an
I'll have to
interesting
ask her for
answer.
sure.
Well, dude, it's been so much fun having you on. Before I let you go, though, if you could just kind of sum up what it is about working in this league, the Ontario Hockey League, that's so special for you, if you can encapsulate that, what is it about working in this league for this franchise in this sport
Oh,
that gets you out of bed every day?
probably the friendships. I think that's the the people I've met like the staff, the players, there's staff that, like, I still talk to that aren't even part of this organization that, I still talk to on a daily basis. Bree Donaldson, Jake McKercher, Nick Biamonte, like those, they worked for the Storm a few years ago. I'm still, really great friends with them now. Um, that just the friendships, the relationships you make along the way is kind of what gets you out of bed every day, I think. And this league's great for it. It's kind of where most people in hockey get their start, whether the players, staff, executives. It's the OHL is where they say they had a great time learning and really getting their career set off. So I would say definitely those two things, and just the OHL is such a great league, and everyone raves about it. And it just, yeah, just being able to say you work in the OHL for the Guelph Storm every day is something that's pretty surreal still after 6 years. Yeah, it still puts a smile on my face. So I don't
Well,
know
I'm
if that's a
glad to
great
hear
answer or
that,
not,
man.
but
No, that's a perfect answer. I think that's about as well said as it could be, and I think that that's one that's very endearing that a lot of people would feel the same way about. And again, all the people behind the scenes that fans don't necessarily get to see. You're a big part of that, and we all see your passion and your drive every time we're at the rink. And I know Storm Nation appreciates it. We certainly appreciate it, and I appreciate you coming on the show, man. Hey, like you said, best league in the world, filled with the best people, and you're among them, man. And I really
appreciate
appreciate you
that,
coming on the
man.
show.
Appreciate you having me, and looking forward to some goal calls tonight from you.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure that's what everybody looks forward to most, I think. Me screaming behind them.
Hey,
Well,
it's a
everybody,
good time. So
that's good to hear, man. I'll keep on doing it. I don't think I could get much louder. Um,
appreciate
so for everybody out there, Storm Nation, you want to get out here, and first of all, you want to find this podcast, you can do so on the Storm website, as always, the YouTube channel, all your favorite podcast apps. And if you want to come down to the Sleeman Center, which you absolutely should, it's a great time, and wave up at Brennan O'Sullivan and myself in the press box and watch this team, you can get tickets on the Guelph Storm website and, of course, the box office at the Sleeman Center. We'll be back next week with more Eye of the Storm.